Sub-Saharan Africa has the highest rates of education exclusion. Over 1/5 of children between the ages of 6 and 11 are out of school, followed by 1/3 of youths between the ages of 12 and 14. According to data from the University of Illinois, almost 60% of youths between the ages of about 15 and 17 are not in school. This situation originally led in 1991 to the institution of the International Day of the African Child. However, not much seems to have changed in almost 30 years. In Nigeria, even though primary education is officially free and compulsory, about 10.5 million of the country's children are, or aged 5 to 14, are not in school. Only 61% of 6 to 11-year-olds regularly attend primary school, and only 35.6% of children aged 36 to 59 months receive early childhood education, according to UNICEF Nigeria. Sadly, the Nigerian child faces a plethora of other challenges. In recent times, for instance, there have been incidents of child sexual abuse, among other violent crimes against underage children. Now, how can the Nigerian child be protected against all forms of abuse? This is the thrust of our discussion on Nigeria Today. Welcome to the program. I'm Dennis Adigunloye. All right, now joining me to discuss protecting the Nigerian child is Dr. Miro Almakura, Special Assistant to the President on African First Lady's Peace Mission. You're very welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and also joining us via Skype from Abuja is the Honourable Minister of Women Affairs, none other than Dame Pauline Talon. Thanks for taking the time to be with us on Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'll come to you first, Honourable Minister. Just to start off with, give us your assessment of the Nigerian child in 2020 in comparison to others around the world.
Thank you very much. Today, as we mark the 16th of June, marks the day to celebrate in commemoration of the African Day of the African Child. It's a day set aside to reflect and address issues that affect children. The day provides a platform to raise awareness on the need for improved education of African children, as well as reflecting on the challenges that the African children face on a daily basis. This is a day that is celebrated among all African countries, and the African Union commemorates this as a massacre of young children who participated in the Soweto uprising in South Africa in 1976. This year's celebration has the theme of access to child-friendly justice system for children in Africa. And it has come in the wake of so many challenges affecting children around the world, particularly with the effects of COVID-19, where children are being locked in homes with their abusers.
All right, thanks for that.
The situation in Nigeria is not different from many other countries, but ours seems quite alarming, and it has caused so much concern among different sectors of the country, the NGOs, the civil society, government, and I've never seen political commitment on part of government and the general public as we've seen this year. Mr. President has raised his voice to condemn child abuse and sexual violence. The wife of the president has raised her voice to condemn it in its totality. The Senate President, the Speaker of the House, all the 36 governors, civil society organizations, it has been a huge outcry. And all hands are on deck because everybody is committed to address this issue. The child has been so badly abused, the child has been bastardized, the child has been so raped and destroyed, because raping a minor is destroying the child for life. It is not an issue that concerns only women. It is a societal problem and must be addressed as such.
All right. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your opening remarks there. Let me come to our guest in the studio, Dr. Miru Almakura. Honourable Minister has highlighted what has been the disturbing trend that has been going on in the past few weeks in Nigeria, especially in this COVID-19 lockdown period. Just give us your initial thoughts on what she has said with regards to the challenges that children are facing currently.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like the Honourable Minister has said, the issue of rape in the last 3-4 weeks has been so alarming and it's so disturbing. Yeah. For us as mothers, it's something that we need to get up and do a lot of sanitization and information and to our men folks. This is not just for us alone. The men are also included. Like in Lagos, I saw men today or yesterday were on a solidarity rally about what is happening in the country. And the president also made a statement. Everybody is so concerned about this trend that is happening. And in some states, like I know in my state, Nasarawa State, my husband enacted the child rights law before he left. And enacting the law alone will not do anything, except if we put more effort in implementation. So both the stakeholders, traditional rulers, and our religious leaders need to do more to enlighten people on this terrible trend that we are facing in our society now. What
in your view has led to this spike, should we say, in cases of rape, especially among minors in recent times in the country?
Honestly, that has been a $1 million question. Nobody will be able to answer that. A 75-year-old raping a 12-year-old girl. 3 days ago, something terrible happened in Nasarawa State. A 3-month-old girl was raped by, I think, a 45-year-old man. So what do you say about that? Insanity. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let me go back to the Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, if you can still hear me, just give us your thoughts on why many states have not, up to now, enacted the Child Rights Act. Just give us your thoughts on that.
It is quite a very disturbing trend because we still have 10 states that are yet to domesticate the Child Rights Act. But the good news is that last week I had a meeting with all the 36 governors forum. I was invited to address them on the hype of the rape and sexual violence, particularly domestic violence, within the COVID-19 pandemic. We are facing a pandemic within a pandemic because the pandemic of child abuse and rape of innocent children is even worse than the pandemic of COVID-19. And the meeting I had with the 36 governors during the Governors Forum yielded very positive results, and I'm quite hopeful because I could see the commitment on their side, and they all vowed. They've all declared a state of emergency on rape and sexual gender-based violence in their respective states, and they've also promised to go back and ensure the domestication of the Child Rights Act. The VAP Act, only 13 states, including Abuja, has domesticated the VAP Act. Again, that is very, very disturbing because the VAP Act has everything to deal with the situation. Our problem all along has been lack of enforcement of this law. And states that have not domesticated it, it will be difficult to address this issue. But with the commitment of Mr. President and all stakeholders, both at the national level and the state level. Mr. President has approved and directed the Attorney General to set up an interministerial committee because, as I keep telling people, it is not a women affairs issue. It's not just a concern of this ministry. It is multi-sectoral, and all hands must be on deck. The Ministry of Education has to be involved, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Environment, every ministry, because children's issue is everybody's problem, because the child belongs to all. And we must collectively address this matter, or else we will be destroying our future. The children are the future of this country, particularly the girl child. The girl child is the mother of tomorrow. If she's destroyed, then the future is completely destroyed. The family is destroyed. So I'm calling on parents. Parents must ensure that they play the role, their parental role. They must ensure they know where their children are at any moment. They must closely monitor those who work in their homes and those who accompany their children, even the drivers. Sometimes we allow just the children with the driver to take them to school. It is risky. Some drivers are dangerous. They could divert, or after school they pick the child. They know you are at work. They could take the child and abuse the child somewhere. We've taken so many things for granted, and our children are dying in silence. We must check all these excesses. But I'm happy with the commitment of the political will. We are awaiting the prompt execution of these laws that are already in place. Domesticating these laws is the main problem, and if the governors keep to their words and do that, which I believe they will, because they are all fathers. I am also happy with the commitment of wives of governors. All wives of governors are committed, and they have formed a group headed by the wife of the governor of Ekiti State as wives of governors concerned on gender-based violence. And they are working around the clock. I'm quite impressed with the way they are taking this matter, because it's like a war. We are in the battlefield. It is a case of emergency. Is a case that has to be taken with all seriousness by all stakeholders, NGOs, civil society, religious leaders, all well-meaning Nigerians. It was also approved last week in Council that we will launch a national advocacy in conjunction with the Ministry of Information and Culture, where all the agencies under the Education, Ministry of Information and Culture will work closely with the ministry, and jointly we will address this matter right to the grassroots. The only snack is the COVID-19, which we have to observe the protocols, but we pray that soon, once we are out with this problem, we'll be able to move down to the grassroots, where we will ensure that the communities own it themselves. We must ensure that the community own this problem so that they can deal with it decisively.
All right, thanks for that, Honourable Minister. If you just remain with us, we will go on a break now. The program is Nigeria Today, and we're discussing protecting the Nigerian child. We'll take a break now. Do stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
All right, welcome back. This is Nigeria Today. If you are just joining us, and our topic is protecting the Nigerian child. We have the Honourable Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Tallen, with us via Skype. And in the studio is Dr. Miro Amakura, Special Assistant to the President on African First Lady's Peace Mission. Dr. Miro, let me come back to you now. Let's move this discussion a little on a bit. Let's talk about education. 10.5 million of the country's children aged 5 to 14 years are not in school. This is prior to COVID-19, obviously. What can you identify as being the problem? Why are we having this issue?
Thank you very much. I think poverty is one of it. The problems that children are out of school, and ignorance, because some parents still feel education, it's not a good thing to do, especially in the northern part of the country. But thank God there is a lot of awareness now, and people are getting to know that education has a very vital role to play in our society and in our lives. And like I said, poverty, hunger, but the president is doing a lot pertaining hunger in school, because this program of school feeding goes a long way in helping parents, at least 1 square meal a day. It's something that children run to school for. And enrollment in schools has really improved after the introduction of the school feeding. So if the government will still do more, we're doing more, but I think they need to do more in empowering the parents of the children. At least if they're farmers, we should give them input and small token to be able to farm and sell their products and take care of their children. With that, I think the percentage will be able to go a little bit higher.
Yeah, better. And regarding the theme for this year's Day of the African Child, access to child-friendly justice system in Africa, would you say this is another area that needs to be drastically improved upon?
I don't think in Nigeria we have anything about this child justice. We need to do a lot on that part, because I don't know, maybe they think the children they don't have a voice of their own, but children of nowadays have a voice and they want to be heard. So the justice system should have a place for children. We should have where we counsel our children, where we have free phone lines, where if they have any issue, they can run and call for help. If we do such things, I think we'll be the better for it.
All right, just given the situation we're all in at the present time with COVID-19 and the lockdown of schools and education institutions, what is your take on how the young in particular should be educated, given that they're not physically able to enter the school premises? We know we have these online classes and all the rest of it, but not everybody is privy or has access to online learning. So what is your view on the way forward in this regard?
That is a very sad one, because I don't want to call figures, maybe like 60-70% of Nigerian children don't have access to internet. They are in public schools. Most of the teachers don't even know how to operate the internet. So how do you expect our children to go online and read their books? So we really have a long way to go. And this COVID-19 has really exposed us to so many things that need to be done and done right. So I pray that after this COVID-19, Federal Ministry of Education, all stakeholders should sit down on the table, go back to the drawing board and arrange and organize something that will be suitable for our own society. Yeah.
Okay, and in regards to the African First Lady's peace mission, just give us an idea of what
we do.
You are doing with regards to promoting the welfare of children.
African First, like the name implies, African First Ladies Mission. It's an organization that has been there since I think it was started by Ture Yaradua. I think she started it. And after she left, subsequently other First Ladies took over. And it all has to do with peace around the region. We go around if there's war in Congo or there's an outbreak of any disease, we rush there for help, aids, and that's what virtually we do in the African First Ladies Mission, to bring Africa together, to stay in peace and harmony. Certainly
very laudable. All right, let me come back to Honourable Minister Dame Pauline Talent. Just give us your thoughts on what your ministry is doing. We know that a lot is being done, but just give us a few highlights of what is being done with regards to promoting the welfare and well-being of children. Very briefly, please.
Hello? I didn't hear you.
Honourable Minister, I asked you basically what is the ministry doing with regards to onward and continued promotion of the well-being of children and their general welfare.
Thank you very much. The problem of the girl child and children generally is top on my agenda, and we are working closely with the Ministry of Education to ensure that we upscale the enrollment, retention, and completion of every child, but with particular emphasis on the girl child, because educating the girl child is educating the society. Educating the society is educating the nation, because the education of the girl child has a multiplier effect. But the child, the Nigerian child, has a right to be educated. It is the right of every child, every Nigerian child, to be educated. Mr. President is committed to this, and we are working towards that. We are closely working in collaboration with the Ministry of Education. I'm also launching a support campaign for the girl child education in order to support them, because the girl child, the problems of the girl child is so huge. You will not believe that so many female students in the rural areas, even in some cities, cannot be in school for complete 30 days because of so many reasons. The girl child, because she cannot afford sanitary and hygiene, basic hygiene equipment to take care of herself, if she's doing her menses, she cannot be in school. So most times she's absent in school for 5 days, just to make sure she is not exposed to staining herself publicly, because she doesn't have the means to buy the necessary sanitary towels to keep herself. And that's why we've launched the Million campaign to support the girl child with sanitary and hygiene equipment.
All right, thanks.
We are also...
Sorry, Honourable Minister, I have to interject. Our time is fast spent, but we certainly appreciate you taking the time to be with us on Nigeria Today and sharing your thoughts with us. Many thanks indeed. All right, briefly, Dr. Mira, just give us your closing thoughts and words of advice to the children of today.
Yeah, I would advise our children to be more dedicated to their studies and to be focused, and to also advise the state governors, because it's not just about domesticating. They need to implement it. Without implementation, this act is going nowhere. So please, we want to urge them, for the benefit of all, to please make sure these laws are all implemented and not kept in the cupboard.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Meru Al-Makura, Special Assistant to the President on African First Lady's Peace Mission. Many thanks for being with us on Nigeria Today and sharing your thoughts and insights with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Best wishes with your continued endeavors.
Thank you, ma'am.
And thanks again to our Honourable Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talon. Sorry for having to interject there, but we certainly got your points loud and clear, and we wish you continued success going forward. Thank you very much. All right, and Nigeria Today, thanks you for watching, and Nigeria Today returns tomorrow live at 7:30 in the evening. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunle.